Scott, I'm pretty sure this is about trade. We impose tariffs on steel and aluminum from Europe, Canada, Mexico. Mexico retaliates with tariffs of its own. The Europeans threaten to do that. This is a trade war. I think this is a big negative, unless it goes away real quickly. What do you say?
Yes, I agree, Stuart, especially given the proximity of those two countries you mentioned in Canada and Mexico. Now, you know, hopefully this isn't Kim Kardashian's fault, but regardless, if you look at just where we are with NAFTA and some of the other things Trump has mentioned with respect to the wall with Mexico, the difference, though, I will tell you, versus these China talks, Stuart, is that I think Mexico and Canada have a lot more to risk here than, say, we do versus the China relationship, because look at this way. We're 75% of Mexico's exports as far as what we buy, and over 60% of Canada's exports as far as what we buy. So this could be one of those trade wars that, I guess to quote the president, we actually could win this one over the long term.
Yeah, if we win, market goes up. But if we lose and it's a drag-out fight, I don't think the market wins. You comment on that?
No, I agree. I think at least in the near term, while things get sorted out, nobody wins. You're right about that. And obviously, the market is in a position where we've seen it in the last, several days with Italy. We saw it in early March and certainly in February, where the first reaction of the market is to sell. But as we know, we've talked about this on this lovely show, there are things you can do if you're an investor at home. With our clients' money, we've started adding gold. GLD is an ETF you can buy that gets you exposure to gold prices. We've also, as Jerry was talking about in that prior segment, we've also started adding some crude oil exposure via AMLP, Stuart, which is an MLP ETF that works on the pipelines and the transportation of oil and gas. That's a great way to kind of hedge out some of your equity exposure, I think, in this environment.
A couple of individual stocks I want to look at with you. Fiat Chrysler may stop selling Fiats here in the U.S. They're focusing on Jeeps and trucks. Scott, that means they're walking away from small cars in America. What do you say?
Yeah, walking away from small cars just as gas prices are heading north. These automakers, I think, are in a tough spot regardless, whether it is GM, Chrysler, even Tesla for some notions. So, Stuart, we've started to really kind of divest and have been for some time away from the automakers, just because there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of reinventing that a lot of these companies are having to doing, and therefore that's a keep away from me.
Did you see that Gee-Whiz story about Tesla? They fixed that braking problem by remote on the Model 3. They literally did a software download. No mechanic touched the cars, and they fixed the braking problem. Do you feel differently about Tesla, bearing that in mind?
That's a cool thing, I'll tell you that much, because, one thing that was plaguing Tesla in the past, years ago, or certainly even somewhat last year, was the fact it would take a long time to get repairs done, and you would have to ship the car away to get it fixed. So if they can find better ways, easier ways to get the cars fixed, that's great. Just Elon Musk, you got to get more cars off the line. That's what I would tell him.
I believe you're in Chicago, and Sears, I always think of as a Chicago company. Well, as you know, Scott, they're closing another 72 stores, and their sales, same-store sales, down 12%. How much longer can Sears survive, do you think?
Not much longer. I mean, this company, unfortunately, along with some of its other retail counterparts, Stuart, JCPenney is one that's out there that's somewhat Chicago-like, too. They're on life support. So, look, eventually, they're going to get the ship righted in the sense of they're going to have to close more stores. You're going to get that retail footprint taken away. But, gosh, I mean, if you look at Amazon and some of those others, Walmarts that have a good online presence, it's almost probably too late for them to come back, isn't it?
You ask a question, I say, yes, sir, it is too late. I got you right there. All right, Scott, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you again real soon, promise.